So, thanks, Leanne. Okay.
Yeah, either way.
You're on.
Hopefully some of those weapons.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to City Council meeting. Today is Monday, July 1, 2024. It is approximately 1 p.m. I am Mayor Eric Enriquez. Before we start, I want to mention that we have the ASL interpreter available for every regular City Council meeting, and she will be at the front for anyone who requires interpretation services. We will start with a moment of silence for the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces and for the men and women of the Las Cruces Police Department and Las Cruces Fire Department as they keep our city safe 24/7, 365. If you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Where's my cue sheet? Yeah. We want to start out with presentations of certificates or presentations, and at this time we will honor the Guzman Martial Arts National Champions. Good to see you. You too. All right. So we wanted to recognize that Guzman Martial Arts, they are four-time national champions, have been invited to compete in Tokyo, Japan at the 2024 IKKF World Karate Championships, representing the United States. They will be there on August 3rd and August 4th. We, Mayor and Council, we are honored to present our hometown of Las Cruces Karate Club as they compete. And they will be presenting also, I'll have the Master Sensei Eli Guzman come up and say a few words, and he also wants to do a presentation to our Las Cruces Police Department. So if I can have our Deputy Chief Eric Aranda come up, please, and join me. But let's give them a big hand for their accomplishments. It's awesome. Here you go.
All right. So yeah, we're heading to Tokyo, Japan. We got invited. We're a four-time national team, and this is the team that we're taking up there. So we're so grateful and thankful and honored to be able to be a part of this new accomplishment. You know, going to Tokyo, Japan, it's a big deal. People from all over are going to be competing, and from all areas of the world. So we're grateful and thankful that, you know, hometown Las Cruces has a karate team that has a team that can, you know, go up and compete on that level. So we're truly grateful. And in April, we actually had a tournament here in Las Cruces, and we want to donate the proceeds, part of our proceeds, to the Jonah Hernandez family, and we want to present them with a check. Also, just, you know, one of the things that we do a lot of community service, and we're always honored to help out as much as we can as martial artists. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, City Council, Mayor, and all you guys that are here. Thank you so much. And this is Elijah D'Angelo Guzman, my newborn. He's 7 months old, so he's a handful, but future martial artists as well. Thank you, everybody.
Let's do our, we got our new backdrop.
All right, awesome.
Y'all want to stand over here so we can get a photo? Go stand in the middle. Go stand in the middle where you use it. Check. Go ahead. Go stand. Got it. The rest of the council, please shake your hand and wish you all the best of luck. Yeah. Again, we want to thank you for your contribution to the Hernandez family and all that they do. And again, let's give them another round of applause and wish them luck in their competition.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Safe travels. Best wishes, safe travels. Safe travels. Good luck, safe travels. Good luck. Safe travels. Best wishes, safe
Absolutely.
travels.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have Jobs of the Week, Sarah Rainey.
Good afternoon. All right, my name is Sarah Rainey. I am the one-stop coordinator for the Southwest region of the Workforce Connections. I am bringing you Jobs of the Week for July 1st. We have a traffic signals technician for the city of Las Cruces. That position starts at $19.51 an hour. At this time, it is a continuous posting. We have a senior office assistant for the city. The position starts at $15.57 an hour, and the posting closes in December. For White Sands Missile Range, we have an administrative specialist, 3. The position starts at $47,000 a year, and the posting closes on July 13th. For Petco, we have an assistant store manager. That position starts at $31,000 a year, and the posting closes on the 23rd of July. We also have for Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Mexico, a medical management specialist. The position starts at $46,000 a year, and the posting closes on the 18th. We have a bilingual personal banker, First National Bank of Texas. That one is here in Las Cruces, starts at $35,000 a year, and the posting closes on the 20th of July. As always, come visit us down on Alameda for our Las Cruces office. We are all over the Southwest region as well for those that are listening in other places and need to find workforce help with your career or changes in your career. We're there for workshops and whatnot. You can find us on all the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok. And we also have our app to download for extra help. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah. Next, Pets of the Week, Amy DeFelix.
Hello, everyone. My name is
is Amy DeFelix. I am one of the rescue coordinators for the Animal Services Center of the Mesilla Valley. I also pick and promote the pets of the week each week. We'll go ahead and get started with our cat of the week. This week, she's Cleo. Her number is 77447, and she says, "My days are spent in soft purrs and gentle stretches. I'm a mellow soul, a gentle companion. I won't demand much, just a warm lap and a kind hand. I'll return your kindness with sweet nuzzles and soothing purrs. I'm not one for high energy games, but I'll always be by your side, a calming presence in your life. Adopt me, and I'll fill your home with tranquility and affection." And then we have our dog of the week. This week she is Oceania. Her number is 64240, and she says, "I'm a bundle of joy, sweetness, and love. I love to snuggle and give kisses, and I'm always ready to lend an ear when you need someone to listen. My favorite thing in the world is being showered with attention. It makes my tail wag uncontrollably. I dream of a loving home where I can share my love and warmth every day. Adopting me means getting a loyal friend who will love you unconditionally." And then adoption events this week, we will be at the Farmers and Crafts Market of Las Cruces this Saturday, July 6th. We will be there from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Our booth is usually situated by Organ Mountain Outfitters, so you can find us on that side of the farmers market. And we'll have some wonderful adoptable dogs for you guys to meet. And then other events going on. I know we just closed out our Bring Love Home June event, which, if I calculated it correctly, I didn't put it here, but I'd like to celebrate that we achieved 230 adoptions, I believe, which is awesome. I don't know how it is compared to last year, but the trend was a significant increase, so I'm sure it is that as well. And we'll post that on Facebook. We'll do a whole fun little celebration. But for July, we have our Red, White, and Cute adoption event. So for all of July, adoptions are $50. This has been an annual promotion event partnered with Doña County Humane Society, and they are offering to sponsor the first 40 adoptions as well. So that is amazing. We're super grateful to them. And all of our internet links, our general website is ascmv.org. And then we're all over social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok is where we post about our upcoming events and adoptable animals. And YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts is where we have episodes of our podcast, Tales from the Paw Side. That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Next is a conflict of interest. Does any member of the city council, city manager, or any member of the city staff have any known conflict of interest with any item on the agenda?
None.
None.
No.
Okay, good. Next, we'll have the public participation. We'll allow up to 3 minutes. No pending litigation or items on non-consent. And we can start on the first row on my left side, and Katrina will be there to assist and usher people and get them lined up as you want to speak. Mr. Gonzalez, Rico, if you wanted to, if you want to speak, come on up. We'll go ahead and start with you.
Don't yell at me, Mayor, please. I'm already nervous enough.
You were used to it by now.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm Rico Gonzalez with El Paso Electric, and here to my right is Huey Miles. He's our supervisor for distribution in Las Cruces. And as you all know, we had some pretty significant weather happenings this weekend. So I just wanted to give a quick update to you and the staff. Real quickly, I'll go over 4 different pieces: the weather that we dealt with, the substations that were out, the areas affected, currently where we're at, más o menos. I mean, the guys are out there working right now. So, and then a quick thank you from myself to staff. So weather, on Saturday, starting around 2 o'clock, we had a huge storm come through that had microcells and outdrafts, is that right? Outdraft, okay, I learned that today. Outdrafting of winds in 3 different waves. And then on Sunday, we had one storm come through around 2 p.m. and then another one around dusk, 6 p.m. On Sunday as well. So 5, if you will, storms total coming through our area that had really strong winds in each and every one of them and really affected our system. And I'm going to go over to the substations now, talk about the different substations and where they affected the city. Las Cruces sub 1 and 2 both had an effect around 2 p.m. That was the first call that we received. Inside of substation 2, there was a canopy that got into a line and took that out. The line workers were able to clear that out. And at substation 1, it took out one of our transmission lines. And so it knocked out quite a few feeders. So the areas affected were from the convention center to MRVDA, the county buildings, your wastewater plant, our area on Compress, our yard on Compress, and so those areas were out for about 2 or 3 hours, Huey, about 2 or 3 hours, and then came back on. And downtown as well. But the big issue for us, I think, right now, is those winds snapped poles all over. So even if they weren't affecting substations, there's still work out there to be done moving forward. So that was Saturday, and then yesterday we had. Oh wait, I forgot one thing. We also had a cell that went over in the Desert Wind Way area, which I don't think all of that is in the city that it was in, but it snapped a whole bunch of poles, about at least 10 poles that I know of, but were all single-phase lines and didn't affect a substation. But that area was really devastating. Huey was out there. He said there was building materials all over, building materials and lines, and so that's taken a while to get that area back on because it even pulled connections from homes, and so once the full line is down, you have to rebuild it. It has been real hero's work from that perspective. Also, we lost Solopec transmission line, but you guys didn't feel that. We got that covered before customers felt it. On Sunday, we had a cell come through and it affected Coronado 23 Animal Services area, Highland Elementary. That line is actually the line that took out the substation. That line is still down, and I'll explain why here in a minute. And a lot of businesses and homes around US 27. And then around 6 p.m. dusk, we had another storm come through up more near the Oregon Mountain High School area, and that then took out Arroyo 20, which is kind of east of the Walmart, or over by you guys' water facility on Loman. So if you just go back there, and so all of those were in about what time, Huey? I mean,
Last night, yeah, I would say 10 o'clock we had services.
so the substations were back in around 10 o'clock. We still have poles all over. An example is at Burn Lake. That pump there is still out. And currently, like I said, we have a lot of poles that are still out, which has some customers out. I wanted to cover real quick. And Highland is out because the entire line had to be rebuilt. So And why didn't we finish that last night? Well, when Horonata 23 went out, the area around the Animal Services building, the substation went in. That was good. We were fixing poles, and then all of a sudden, the substation out by the Walmart on Loman goes out. So we moved our crews to go fix that, because that's the most customers. When we look at priority areas, our priorities are critical load, safe and health of the community. Then we go to what can affect the most customers to get them back into lights. And that's where we make that call to move over. And then once all the substations are in, if there's individual poles to fix, which there were, I mean, I can show you guys some pictures later, but those are the three different priority areas moving forward. Our crews are stretched all weekend long. We have crews in Ruidoso as well, helping with that issue up there, and God bless all those people and our neighbors there. But so I wanted Huey to come with me today because Huey represents, he's our supervisor. These guys are out there. Huey was at least, from our management team, was out over 24 hours at one point, went home for about 4 hours, back on, and just, has been, and then is back here today doing his job. And our crews, our IBW 960 members, proud of the work that they've done as well. And so, and then a big shout out to Akani, his team, Stephen Lopez and his team, communicating back and forth all weekend long to make sure that you guys know what's going on if you had any questions. So thank you, Akani, very much for helping out with all of that. And other than that, not much else. And I don't know if I should answer any questions or not, but.
No, that's fine. Thank you for the update, and we appreciate it, and we appreciate all the work that El Paso Electric that you were doing during this storm. Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else on that second row? Third row? Oh, come on up.
My name is Donna Stryker. Thank you. I wanted to thank City Manager for coming to our meeting. You did a great job. I didn't know as much about GRT as I do now. Probably know more than I ever thought I would want to know about GRT. I want to say thank you. I also wanted to say thank you to Cassie McClure and to Becky Graham. We really appreciated your presence. And thank you. City Clerk, I'd like to address this to you. You do an amazing job. If you haven't read the minutes, it's amazing. You do a great job, and I just wanted to say thank you. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you. Next.
Mayor, Council, Juan Garcia. A recent council session saw a councilor label inland border patrol checkpoints as, quote, the scourge of the community, and, quote, constitution-free zones. Not really clear what that means, but suggesting the very presence of Border Patrol agents inflicts great trauma. While concerns about invasive questioning are valid and must be addressed, we cannot paint Border Patrol agents with such a broad, derogatory brush. These men and women are not faceless enforcers of the law. They are the frontline heroes, friends and neighbors who risk their lives daily to save others and protect our community. Let us not forget the horrific human smuggling operation uncovered by Border Patrol in Las Cruces on 24 June, where 32 migrants were packed into inhumane conditions, or the dozens of suffocating migrants found in box trailers, as happened on February 21, 2023. These agents are the ones who bring traffickers to justice and give voice to the voiceless. Our outrage and scrutiny should be directed at the true sources of the problem. The governor's reckless decision to open the floodgates to marijuana, despite its federally illegality, has created the problem for marijuana businesses. Such policies, not the brave men and women of Border Patrol, are the root cause of the trauma and risk we see. It's time to redirect your scorn and offer the praise and gratitude our CBP agents deserve. We must see through the thinly veiled disdain of some of the DICE have for Border Patrol and ICE while they advocate for their dismissal. Do we truly believe those who show such contempt for the men in green, 50% approximately of whom are Hispanic, generally care for the men in blue, LCPD? Their future upcoming votes in August will be telling. Let us stand united in supporting not just the men in green, but the safety and security of our entire community. Let us address the real problems rather than attacking those who will put their lives on the line for ours. Thank you.
Vic Villalobos. Good morning, afternoon. I just wanted to do a few kudos. So I want to thank some of the city councilors and city management for coming to our Businesses for Safer Los Cruces. And you guys have also, I know, been monitoring our Facebook page, and it's being noticed. We know that when things are being posted about things in the community where we're seeing, you know, some bad stuff, and maybe some of these homeless camps set it up that they abandon, and there's a shopping carts. You all are seeing that, and you're actually helping us take action, and we really appreciate that. It really goes a long way to do that. So thank you guys for doing that. It is definitely being noticed. I also want to give kudos. I know we have a substitute chief here today with the fire department, but you know, our search and rescue team recently was up in Ruidoso doing operations up there, and the fire department, TR team was up there with their Swift water group, and I know we had water coming in every day, and we're seeing it now still going on in Ruidoso, and there was a lot of fire departments up there, but I got to tell you, it really felt good when those guys would come by and check on us to make sure we were okay. Having that hometown TRT team really made a difference to us up there. So again, appreciate the fire department being up there and doing what they're doing up in Ruidoso. And on that note, I also noticed that we've got some stuff coming up with some of the parks and things, some improvements we're doing. And one of those I saw was La Llorona. And I would encourage that as you're looking at what you're doing at La Llorona, a lot of people use that as a way to recreate in the water. You saw recently Mr. Braza, you know, died in the river, and you know, it's about one a year that we're doing now. Our team helped with the extraction of Mr. Braza in the water, and I would encourage you to put up some real signage about not swimming and how dangerous it is. Mr. Mayor, you know, being a fire guy, water always wins. That's what they always tell me when we're training with the fire department. Water always wins. And you know, Mr. Braza was in there with his grandchildren, and things went bad real fast. The other thing, I don't know if you all are aware of this, those kids, when they went in the water, it was actually a homeless man that jumped in and saved those kids. They got off their little raft and they were being separated, and it was a homeless man that jumped in. So, you know, it's always different perspectives as you go through things, but you know, really think about that as you guys are doing that park in particular. I think that needs to be addressed as a water issue down there, that it's a little dangerous. So, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Sir? Just want to tell you that that area of La Llorona Park
Yeah.
is actually under the auspices of the
Of who?
county. The county.
Oh, that's funny, because they tell us it's you. I had the same meeting with the county, and they said, oh, that side of the road is city, and then that side of the road is county. And it is, trust me, we go through this all the time with the jurisdictional stuff, and we had some LC fire guys with us on the county side of it, and the county folks were quick to let us know that we're on the county side and not on the city side of the river. So I was under the understanding that the east side is maintained by the city, and maybe I'm being given the wrong information, but that is the way we understand it when we're down there. So,
Thank you.
all right.
All right, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Hurst. I'm reading from the letter by George Washington to the Hebrew congregation of Newport, Rhode Island. This is in 1790.
Sir, we can barely hear you.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
There you go, thank you.
I'll begin again. I'm reading from the letter by George Washington to the Hebrew congregation of Newport, Rhode Island. Washington wrote these words in August 1790, anticipating the ratification of the First Amendment in December of that year. So this letter stands as commentary by Washington on the First Amendment and the principle of separation of church and state. Quote, "The citizens of the United States of America have a right to applaud themselves for having given to mankind examples of an enlarged and liberal policy, a policy worthy of imitation. All possess alike liberty of conscience and immunities of citizenship. It is now no more that toleration is spoken of as if by the indulgence of one class of people, that another enjoyed the exercise to their inherited natural rights. For happily the government of the United States, which gives to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance, requires only that those who live under its protection should demean themselves as good citizens in giving it on all occasions their effectual support." End quote. Washington's 18th century language boils down to this: all citizens have an equal right to religious freedom, including Jews. All citizens deserve protection from religious bigotry, even Jews. Raphael Cruz, a hero of our local Republican Party, says that the First Amendment was written only to protect Christian sects from one another and not to protect other religions in the same way that it protects Christians. It seems that many conservatives of Las Cruces share this opinion. This view is based on either ignorance or indifference to Washington's opinion of the separation of church and state. Consider the words, "For happily the government of the United States, which gives to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance." I assert that these words apply not only to Jews living in the United States of America in our infancy, but also to the LGBTQ community in our fair city. It's distressing to me that many in Las Cruces do not consider homophobia as equivalent to religious bigotry. Many of our elected officials appear to be in league with them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone on the left side wishing to speak? Okay, we'll start on the right side from the top. Yeah, I know, I see him. You didn't see our usher. She's ushering and, no, you're fine, you're fine. But just for the future, she's allowing people to come up. You missed her.
Good afternoon, Mayor. Good afternoon, Mayor and City Councilors. My name is Jorge Aguirre. I'm a longtime resident of this community, and I am here to advocate in favor of high-density housing and mixed-use neighborhood development, even though I live in a single-family home in a nice neighborhood. We are not a nuclear family society. We built a huge country for nuclear families that we don't have. And that's okay. But we need housing that meets the needs of the families and citizens we do have. If we are serious about reducing the harmful effects of poverty and inequality, which is, all these break-ins and all these homeless people that none of us likes, we need to dismantle the zoning laws that were based on racist and segregationist sentiments, but that affect all of us in a negative way. A bonanza of investment will happen if we legalize high-density housing, but many are concerned with an increase in car traffic. Fair, that's fair. They don't oppose contractors being hired to build and remodel and expand an existing housing. They don't dislike the thousands of businesses, jobs, and opportunities that new construction will generate. All of the increased sales from furniture, decor, appliances, insurance, financing, nor the increased tax revenue that the city will generate based on existing infrastructure without having to build new public infrastructure. Most don't hate the people who will move to a small apartment. They don't hate their neighbors, they do hate cars. Even the people who love cars hate spending time in their car. Even the people who have lifted trucks and they love their trucks and they spend a ton of money on their trucks, they hate spending 15 extra minutes on their truck because of car traffic. High density doesn't have to mean more traffic though. But we do need to build different than what we have so far. We have to get rid of this mentality that everybody needs a car for every single trip of their life. Traffic can be reduced by removing from our city codes the assumption that everyone owns a car and will make a trip on a car. There are some people who want that, and they can keep that, because we're not going to get rid of the existing infrastructure, but we also need alternatives for everyone else. We need alternative transportation options like protected bike lanes and safe sidewalks as a standard, not as a, fancy thing we do downtown. But we also need high-density housing and mixed use for it to be practical and cost-effective citywide. In summary, legalize high-density housing, please. Remove the hurdles so we can unleash our investors, our architects, our developers, our construction workers, and everyone else that works hard to keep this community thriving. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, we're starting on the right side now from the top down. Come on down, man. Yeah, if you're ready, you can state your name and speak directly into the microphone so we can hear you.
Thank you. My name is Mary Ames. And this is, I had technical issues today, which would have upset me more if I thought pages I'd actually printed out had an impact. So let me just say this. Oops. I can't. I wonder if any of you counselors recognize the name Ann Dunkley. Yeah? It's been 2 years since a loose neighbor's dog ripped off an arm and a foot. You don't even remember her name, and in 2 years, nobody has made even the tiniest baby step to actually put strict guidelines in on loose roaming pets and enforce them. Anybody know how many dogs have attacked in the 2 years since? Now it doesn't matter because Ann doesn't matter. Because, it would be great if somebody actually cared. And I'm not seeing it happening with you people. You haven't done that. You haven't listened to us. The other thing I want to address is the lack of transparent communication. The latest city manager hire, out of 6 counselors, only 1 publicly stated she wanted transparent communication. The rest of you, deafening silence. The manager before that was also hired under pretty opaque circumstances, and he left under opaque circumstances. Anybody ever answer reasonably those questions? So I'm not going to stay for the future testimony that will impact me the most and the most negatively, because what I've learned from attending meetings here and in planning and zoning, you don't care to listen to your constituents. You don't care of the negative impact what you do or neglect to do has a negative impact on our lives. Every meeting I've attended, I see people give testimony and then leave, faces filled with disgust and frustration and anger. You don't get to see that. I do. So you don't get to see my face, but believe me, it's there.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Manager, Councilor, staff, and public. My name is Yoli Diaz. First, it was very disappointing to watch and listen to this 4 C-suite of Memorial Medical Center, CEO John Harris, COO Mary Armijo, CFO Laura Thomas, and CNO David Schmidt recently, to not comment or show any concern for the patients who did not access care at Memorial Medical Center. Barbara, who's been here a couple of times, was very angry. Nancy, who's not a public speaker, is quoted as saying, "I don't know who's making these decisions, but they're not looking out for our best interests. I spent 4 months begging them." Again, I spent 4 months begging them, meaning MMC, but they didn't seem to care. Veronica is quoted as saying, "I felt so desperate, and I told the receptionist, really, if I don't have insurance, you're, MMC, going to let me die? I'm going to die?" She, MMC receptionist, said, "Yes, we're going to let you die, and you're going to die." I still remember in 2020, because you have to remember Veronica was a cancer survivor. It happened before. Veronica telling me this story, and I becoming very angry. And that was at the time that I was advocating for her just to have some diagnostic testing, because they were really doing these aggressive methods of trying to collect. And I talking to MMC. I still remember both Nancy and Barbara in 2022 going through their experience with Memorial Medical Center. And again, I becoming very angry. What is important to know is that these denials and delays didn't happen to just 12 or 13 residents. The residents who spoke up are the ones who gave me permission to give their names to Gretchen Morganson. The residents that Gretchen Morganson wrote about are the residents that agreed to Gretchen to report their story and their name to our nation. There are more residents that this happened to include the disabled indigent woman that I chose not to expose, since she was in the middle of treatment with the additional challenges that I expected she would have. I know a woman who described her suffering with cancer to me and not being able to access treatment at Memorial Medical Center in 2015. She finally got to UNM Cancer Center. I know a woman in 2017 who had cancer and needed tests, diagnostic tests that were scheduled at MMC. But records were updated at MMC, and she wouldn't be getting them because she was uninsured. I have this in black and white, an MMC document. There are more residents I know about, and what about the general public? Referrals by other doctors? How many more residents that this happened to? And what about the records that should be kept that the lease and the statute are requiring? What about that? Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Victor Hernandez.
I'm here to voice some concerns on that proposed apartment complex on 725 McClure Road.
Sir, that's an agenda item, so that will be open for discussion when we get to that agenda.
Okay.
This is for
sounds good.
public
Okay,
participation.
this is the first time
Okay.
I've been here. so-
No, that's fine, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Brittany Nickerson. I'd like to express, my approval, I guess, for the overhaul of the city zoning laws, which would allow for more infill construction in the city and increase our housing density without resorting to massive apartment complexes, as well as restoring older neighborhoods that need this revamp. This allows a lot more access for individuals in our community. It's a good fit for our city as well, to be able to access better transportation, as was voiced previously. A lot of our community members rely heavily on public transport, bicycles, walking, in order to get to work, to appointments, to childcare and schooling. And so this would, increase access for those folks as well. And it would just generally make our community more of an equitable place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, City Councilors and Mayor. I'm Sarah Smith. I'm concerned about your plan to increase the gross receipts taxes in Las Cruces. Although the tax increase would be relatively small, this is a really bad time for City Council to be raising taxes. Inflation is devastating many families right now, and for a council that is ostensibly so concerned about the poor, this seems unjustified. Raising the gross receipts tax would also discourage businesses from moving to Las Cruces. Our gross receipts tax is already quite a bit higher than Albuquerque's, and your proposed increase would make the taxes higher here in Las Cruces than in Sunland Park, Santa Fe, Ruidoso, Los Lunas, and other cities. I understand that part of the tax increase will be voted on by council and the other part will be voted on by the public in November. If you decide to move forward with this, will you please ensure that the funds are specifically earmarked for public safety? By state statute, you can specify what the increased taxes will be used for. 88% of your survey participants identified public safety as the #1 priority. So if you are going to be taking money from families of Las Cruces, those funds need to be directed towards improving safety. From talking with the interim county manager, I know that the state has other potential funding options right now due to a large surplus budget from oil and gas production. So I am struggling to understand why you are planning to take more money from Las Cruces' families right now, given the high inflation and high prices for even basic necessities. Please rethink this instead of giving Las Cruces one of the highest tax rates in the state and taking money from families who are already struggling to make ends meet. Thank you.
Mayor, councilors, Steve Coletti, 14-year resident of Las Cruces. Today I must point out an extreme irony. For months, honest, hardworking citizens, businessmen, and business owners have been coming before you to plead for you to do your jobs and give them some relief from rampant crime. Except for a few slight gestures of late, these pleas have at best fallen on deaf ears. But we've been accused of being elitists, trying to outlaw homelessness. And to quote the Mayor Pro Tem, I have little sympathy. Now, we know she was speaking specifically of Walmart, but we have all felt that lack of sympathy. But then, excuse me, at your last meeting, you had a string of criminals. Yes, criminals, because cannabis is fully illegal. It does not matter what the people in Santa Fe have to say about it. Drug pushers peddling poison in our community, destroying lives, and decimating our already anemic workforce. To them, you have sympathy. I believe this speaks volumes to the lack of character of this council and your extremely misplaced priorities. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, my name is Tony Chavez. I want to say thank you for what you do, even though I may not always agree with you. So I want to bring up a little bit about terrorism and discuss a little bit about that. I want to say, let's not forget 9/11 and this horrific terrorist attacks on American soil by Al-Qaeda, a terrorist organization. We have lost many service members fighting the global war on terrorism because of this attack. And let's not forget the innocent civilians that also lost their lives on this day. Today, we still have service members serving abroad and in harm's way. Let's keep these brave women and men in our prayers and pray that they return home safely to their families. I'm hopeful that next year we will have a Memorial Day service at Veterans Park honoring those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice in defending our great nation. As the second largest city in New Mexico, I'm surprised, as well as other veterans I've spoken to within the community, that we do not have such a service, and I'm hopeful you will support one next year and the following years. I brought this issue up at the May Veterans Advisory Board. If you have not attended Memorial Day service, I would highly encourage you to attend one. It's very sobering and eye-opening experience, especially when the deceased service member is returned from the country they are serving in for burial. Additionally, thank you, Councilwoman McClure and Councilwoman Flores, for your father's service to our nation. There were comments at a city council meeting regarding the Border Patrol and how some of you feel about them. Welcome to a border state. The Border Patrol, as well as ICE, have explicit missions such as watching out for sex, minor, human trafficking, and alien smuggling, checking for illegal drugs and undocumented immigrants entering the U.S., not to mention terrorists, criminals, and gangs that may have entered, and hopefully we will not have to live through or endure another 9/11. Did you know the U.S. spends $66 billion a year on undocumented immigrants? You may not like ICE and the Border Patrol, however, you should respect them, and I fully support these agencies as they have a very important mission in keeping our country and citizens safe, just as our law enforcement and first responders, and I have their 6. Just try getting onto a military installation where you must roll down your windows, show your military ID card so it can be scanned, and hopefully you're not pulled over for a surprise inspection where you must exit the vehicle, open all doors, as well as the trunk and the glove box. Also, your registration and insurance are checked and verified. If you do not have a military ID, you will need to be vetted before you can enter. All this occurred because of 9/11. Now, discussing the GRT, I understand New Mexico has a $50 billion surplus, yet the city is advocating for a possible increase to the GRT. What is the city doing to address getting its capital outlay projects funded by our state representatives? I'm sure you all have a meeting with them at some point during the budget cycle to address the city's priorities, and I hope that you will press them to advocate at the state level for the required funding. Thank you.
City Council, Mayor. I am Susan Greenwald Cabello, the Executive Director of Downtown Las Cruces Partnership. I have a very short message today. It is, please help us get out our community survey. We've done this for the last 5 years. I sent it all to you. I did not blind copy you. Chris had to save me on that one. I tried to be above board and send it to you all, and he said I was above and beyond board, and he blind copied you. So what we want to do is make sure that our entire community sees the survey and can reply to it. Historically, we have had most of our respondents be somehow connected to downtown and senior citizens. We want both of those demographics to please respond, but we also need kind of a broader range of Las Crucens to give their input. We're aiming to get 100 responses. Right now, we have about 30. We did not include a gift card giveaway this year because we have been spammed so heavily in the past when we've done that. Last year, in one day, we had 970 responses from bots. By the way, very complimentary of downtown. They love our historic fortress and the beautiful boy. Yeah. I would have loved to keep them in there because they really pushed our numbers up. But all kidding aside, really important that the people of Las Cruces participate in this, and that way we get to include your feedback in our upcoming work plans. Also want to give a shout out to Chris Favor and Mandy Guest. They're going to be talking about this tomorrow in the press release and getting it out to our community as well. So thank you all.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, distinguished stand-ins for the chiefs. My name's Eddie Thomas. First of all, I want to begin by giving kudos to the El Paso Electric Company for restoring our power after Saturday's high wind event. My power was knocked out, and by 10 o'clock that same evening, the El Paso Electric people were able to restore it. So big thanks to them. Second thing I want to say is that the Border Patrol is our first line of defense. Unlike a council member's comments, I beg to differ with, I've never been traumatized by any member of the Border Patrol, okay? The next thing I want to talk about is the parking lot part of the rezoning law that the resolution you all are trying to put in place. I'm glad that most of it has been retracted regarding the establishment of putting businesses and mixing it up in residential zones. We like our single-family neighborhoods to stay that way. What you do on the outskirts of town, well, that's another issue. But I wish you would leave the inside of Las Cruces alone the way it is. A lot of people like the neighborhoods just the way they are right now. And for you all to come up with a rezoning issue that scrambles it all up and homogenizes it is just counter to what we moved to Las Cruces for. I thought that the parking lot portion of it, it looks like you all want to become the parking lot police. The portion of that rezoning ordinance would be counterintuitive to promoting business. Businesses are not going to be restricted to just a few parking spots for them. It just doesn't make any sense, okay, to restrict a business based on their square footage to X amount of parking spots. I thought we were trying to encourage business to come here, and it just seems totally counterintuitive. The last thing I want to say before I get off is that I'm not sure what portion the city gets with regards to the abortion clinic that's coming up here at Sonoma Ranch and Loman, but I personally am against it. I think the city should not be profiting from the blood spill of innocent children. Thank you very much.
Hello, Mayor and Council. My name is Nathan Silva. I'm a first-generation American, and I'm happy to say that I'm living the American dream. I'm the co-founder of Mylars. We're a cannabis manufacturer proudly based here in Las Cruces, New Mexico. At Mylars, we're graduates of NMSU, proud members of the community, and we have absolutely no desire to move our business elsewhere to avoid the impact of these federal policies. I would like to commend the City Council, as well as the state of New Mexico, for allowing generations past, present, and future to allow our expertise and passion in this industry to help improve our economy and overall condition of the state. My father is a retired Border Patrol agent, so I understand the agency's intentions very well. While I share no disdain for the agency, I do have scorn for the outdated federal policies that have led to this disconnect between state and federal officials. May the people come together to make reasonable policy changes that maintain the safety of our country while not impeding on our state's economy. I recently met with the Attorney General of New Mexico, and we do have the support of state officials as well in updating these policies and ensuring that we can do something in tandem with Border Patrol to work together and ensure that our economy operates efficiently. This is a billion-dollar industry, the cannabis industry. There's no reason why past generations should be sharing disdain for our industry. We are young, we're proud to be able to come out of the shadows and do what we do proudly and share our expertise in a professional manner. Please allow us to do so. Thank you again, City Council and State, for everything you've done. You've shown overwhelming support, and it truly means the world to us. May we continue to work together to improve the conditions. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. My name is Corina Miramontes. I am a dispensary owner in the old historic district on Mesquite Street. I live in my business. I am really happy to be able to bring plant medicine to the people of the neighborhood. I just want to say thank you very much, and I was in shock to hear. I grew up here in Las Cruces, but I went away for about 25 years. And to hear some of the testimonies, your story, Yvonne, last meeting about being terrorized at the Border Patrol for being brown is something that was really shocking to me. Really shocking to me. Being from, I graduated from Las Cruces High School. I went to Hermosa Heights. I have been pulled over there, brand new car scratched. I have been terrorized, I feel like, as well. I do have complete respect for what they do and for the safety of our state and our country. So that, that's not an issue for me. But I just wanted everyone to kind of put a face to who is in the cannabis industry, and that is me. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your work.
Good afternoon. My name is Chad Lozano. I'm here to speak in support of the cannabis industry and also our city council because you guys have been nothing but supportive of us. I live in the state of New Mexico, not a federally controlled state of New Mexico. So my state government decided that cannabis should be legal in this state, and it's unfortunate that my federal government hasn't caught up with those laws because almost 25 states have gone this adult use route. So it's unfortunate that New Mexico seems to be the only one dealing with this issue right now with the Border Patrol, but I do understand national security. I do understand what they're doing. However, we're not doing anything wrong, and we're not the problem here. We're literally trying to do something for the state. We've made $1 billion so far and counting in under 2 years, and we only have a population of 2.2 million people. I mean, that's very impressive. Not many places could, really tout something like that being this small. So for me, it's really alarming to hear so many people think that our local and our state government don't matter. And I'm all about keeping bigger government out of it and keeping smaller government, a part of it, because smaller government does affect you more directly than bigger government. Unfortunately, sometimes what they do will affect certain individuals like ourselves here in the cannabis industry. I just want to say that I support you guys, and I hope you guys can continue to support us. But I also do understand national security and everything of what their job is. But it's unfortunate that we have to come down this route and still have these issues in 2024 when we're going to a route where cannabis is going from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. And we're probably going to be seeing federal decriminalization at some point down the future too. So instead of us trying to fight it, let's embrace it a little bit, because the real issue that we have in our community is alcohol. And all we've done is opened access to alcohol more. I can't go to anything above a high school sport without alcohol being pushed on me. I try to go to the Sun Bowl, alcohol was pushed on me the whole time. I don't drink. And so it's unfortunate, it's alarming to see how alcohol has impacted our community, and we just keep opening the access, and then we start pointing the blame to cannabis. And I don't think that's fair, because cannabis has never been the issue. The only issue about cannabis was its legality. So thank you, appreciate it.
How's everyone doing today? My name is Joshua Villegas, and I just want to say thank you to the councilman and women. I'd like to say, Ms. Becky Graham, I'm one of the faces from your area. Thank you for being here. I hear nothing but great support. One of the points that I hear is business, protecting it from personal to other businesses. And yeah, we get it. No one wants to ostracize or belittle any of the jobs it's taking that's tough. But at the same time, giving these licenses was a promise to change and benefit from. And so this is a double-edged sword that we're trying to figure out. And just like Nate and most people said, if we could find some type of way to coincide or work with it, I mean, we're doing legit business. I don't see how the paperwork that we bring to the border checks, if they find anything more extra than that, I can see the crime. But what it's doing is preventing people like me from actually succeeding in New Mexico, from the poorest state to less education. This is something that I excel in. And so with that being said, I don't want the chance being taken away. And so everyone here, I get it. The fear, everything just going around. But I'm here to say that things can change for the better. And I really do appreciate the support from everyone. Border Patrol agents, like I said, it's a tough job. And I have respect, but once you get lost in the situation, then what is there left? So with me saying that, again, I appreciate you guys hearing us out and giving us an actual voice. I like to tell most people that spoke today, the address, that we don't hate or try to do anything towards situations that are known. We want to try to understand it and work with it. And so I think that's the difference in the growth that we want to try to present, and not be known as a mafia organization on a legal business from the state. So with that being said, thank you for the time, and may you guys be blessed. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. My name is Monty Rutledge. I spoke a couple weeks ago to you. I'll speak again. In 2001, I joined the U.S. Navy as a corpsman. That's a medic for your non-Navy type. I deployed in 2006 in support of OEF, sustained combat injuries physically and mentally. I returned home from that and I joined the U.S. Border Patrol. I wanted to continue to serve my country, but I didn't want to do it with medicine. I saw too much. So I went into law enforcement, enjoyed my time there in the Border Patrol. I'm very proud of what I did in the Border Patrol, very proud of Border Patrol and all the men and women in law enforcement that I've worked with. In 2015, I saved the lives of 6 individuals. They weren't from this country, but I saved their lives. And in 2021, I had to retire from the Border Patrol because I could no longer live with the mental and physical impairments that I had. And the Border Patrol wasn't gonna help me. Cannabis helped me. I had to leave the Border Patrol to seek cannabis, and cannabis saved my life. I am here today because of cannabis. And all of you, or the majority of you, have helped bring cannabis to the city and to the state. So I thank you for saving my life. Thank you for keeping me here. And I ask that you continue to move forward with the efforts that you're putting forward to solidify the industry, to help us, give us relief where we need it, and to continue to support us. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's everyone? Okay, thank you. Thank you all for your participation. Next will be the closed meeting statement. The Las Cruces City Council met in closed session at 11 a.m. on June 24th, 2024. The following members were in attendance: Mayor Enriquez, Councilor McClure, Councilor Graham, Mayor Pro Tem Bencomo, Councilor Coran. From staff was Barbara Bencomo, Sonia Delgado, J.C. Borrego, Ikani Tamupayao, Brad Douglas, Chief Jeremy Story, and Christine Rivera. Outside counsel was Brad Springer. The meeting adjourned at 11:38 a.m. Statement for the record: the Las Cruces City Council met in closed session and only discussed those limited items as stated in the posted notice. The purpose of the closed meeting was to discuss pending litigation regarding the City of Las Cruces from Smelzer, case number PELRB 10423, which is closed pursuant to NMSA 1978, Section 10-15-1H7. Next, we'll move to the acceptance of agenda. Item 7.2 will need to be removed from consent to amend.
Mayor, if I can have 7.1 removed as well, just for some clarification.
Move to approve with those two, with both items removed from the consent agenda and put to new discussion as recommended by Councilor Matisse.
Second.
This is on the motion to approve the agenda as presented with removal of items 7.1 and 7.2 for discussion. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Cran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo? And Mayor?
Yes. So we go with 7.1? Okay. So we'll start with 7.1, resolution authorizing the City of Las Cruces to accept 2 grant awards from the New Mexico Department of Transportation.
Move to approve, Graham. Second, Corin.
Go ahead, Crystal Silva to present.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, staff, and public. My name is Crystal Silva with the Grants Administration Program, and today I am bringing forth a resolution to accept 2 grant awards from the New Mexico Department of Transportation. The City of Las Cruces was granted the following award in the amount of $399,829 from the New Mexico Department of Transportation for pavement maintenance on West Amador Avenue. The city is required to match 25% of the awarded grant amount. I have provided a map of the project area that will begin immediately east of the intersection of Pioneer Place and West Amador and will end immediately west of the intersection of South Archuleta Road and West Amador Avenue. The City of Las Cruces was granted the following award in the amount of $400,000 from the New Mexico Department of Transportation for improvements to the intersection of East Loman and South Walnut Street. The city is required to match 25% of the awarded grant amount. I have provided a map of the project area. These improvements are a continuation of city initiatives to increase safety, improve efficiency, and travel times along the East Loman Avenue corridor, connecting Interstate 25 to Valley Drive and Interstate 10 access to Motel Boulevard. NMDOT requires a resolution of acceptance by the city before the agreement is fully executed. Before you are your council options, and I stand for questions.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead,
Mayor.
Councilor Matisse.
I just had a question on when you apply for these grants, how frequently does the New Mexico Department of Transportation actually help with grants on an annual basis? Is there an average?
Mayor, Councilor Matisse, I wouldn't say an average exactly. These 2 grant awards are the MAP award and the LGRF award, so we're able to apply for those annually. And at that point, so far, we have gotten them and been awarded the last 2 times that we've applied since I've been here. I'm not too sure, and I can't speak for prior to that, but with most of the NMDOT grants that we apply for, we are usually very successful in getting those awarded.
Thank you. I just saw the safety concern for both of these grants, and I think that's probably where you succeed. Both of them were unsafe, so thank you for applying and thank you for getting them.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions by council? Seeing none?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 25-001. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
Yes.
Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mayor, Council, my name's Leanne Demush. I'm your Finance Director. Before Charlie Fierro starts his PowerPoint, I wanted to introduce our grant manager because she's going to be helping with this presentation. She has never addressed council before. So I wanted to do a formal introduction to Gabby Pratt, who has now been with the city since January 2nd. So she's in her 6 months, right? Yes. So I'm going to turn it over to Charlie. Thank you so much.
All right, welcome, Gabby. Yeah. Yes, on 7.2.
Move to approve. Second, Graham.
Okay, go ahead, Charlie.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, City Council, City Management, and staff. My name is Charlie Fierro, Budget Analyst with the City of Las Cruces Financial Services Department. Today for you, I'm presenting a resolution that's going to establish the budget for grant awards. My first project today, which is the one that Gabby will be helping me out with, is called Trails Plus. This is for Parks and Rec, and the grantor in this case is the New Mexico Department of Economic Development. The grant amount, the award amount, is for $500,000. And this is the part where Gabby's going to help clear it up, the match. Originally, it was budgeted for $500,000. However, that's been revised to $1.3 million, a little bit over. And the purpose of this award is to design and construct a recreation trail connecting several Las Cruces metro destinations. So with that, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Ms. Gabby Pratt.
Good afternoon. For the record, Gabriela Prats, Grant Manager in the Finance Department. We're asking to amend the Resolution 25-002 to request a waiver from the one-to-one grant match requirement that is currently in the grant policy section A 1.3. That was passed in May of 2018 as Resolution 18-120. The funder is expecting the city to match the total of the balance of the project cost. Originally, the grant solicitation listed a requirement of the dollar-to-dollar match, a one-to-one match, but on Wednesday, June the 29th, after a conversation with the program officer, he laid that bomb on us. The request that we're making is because, obviously, the 1.3 million is more than 2 times the grant match ratio. So we're requesting to amend the resolution so that council grants a waiver of that one-to-one match requirement in the grants administration program policy. And if you have any questions. Thank you.
Any questions? Councilor Flores?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Gabby.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Ms. Prats. So I don't understand. Originally it did have to be matched.
Yes.
And the amount you anticipated is not the amount that we would have to pay.
Yes.
So what's the difference?
It's about it's a little less than $800,000 difference. There is other funding from the state that is matching this particular project. The actual total project cost is $1.85 million. And the grant gives us the $500,000 plus we have a $350,000 grant from the Paseo Norte Health Foundation that is matching this, and a state appropriation of $290,000. So the department will have to come up with about $660,000.
Okay, and then what fund or where would that money come from? Or would it be, from where? Yeah. The allocation would be supplied by,
The balance is proposed from the Park Improvement Fund. Is that correct, Steve?
and I guess my question is, I think.
Steve's here if
Steve?
you have questions for him.
Yeah.
Councilor Flores, City Council, Stephen Bam. The trail on this will require us to come up with a little more than the $500,000, and it would come from PIF.
Okay, so my question is, where do you get that $500,000 since budgets have already been set? I'm not saying that money can't be moved, but what fund or what project or how would you allocate that money?
We're requesting that it will come from park impact fees.
Oh, impact fees. And, but is the money there now?
Yes, there is.
Oh, I see. So then you request from impact fees, and then we have another hearing to approve that? Or is it internal,
I believe it comes again, right?
departmentally?
No.
Oh,
It's.
everybody's
I'll let you
pointing the
talk to
finger.
that.
Charlie can answer that.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, Council Flores, anytime we're amending the bottom line of a fund throughout the year, then it would need to be brought to council. So in this case, if they have to budget TIF funds, if they have to kind of do a budget of fund balance, then we would need a resolution for that to increase the budget.
Okay, and that's what we're doing today?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. I'm not confused anymore. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm back up now. I'm gonna go ahead and continue my presentation with the other awards. Thank you, Gabby. Thank you, Steve. My next project is the FY22 Go Bond Library Support Project. This is for quality of life. The grantor in this case is the Department of Cultural Affairs Library Division. The amount of the award is $466,896. And the purpose of these funds is to purchase equipment, furniture, fixtures, and other electronic resources. So I know the library is pretty excited about this project. My next project is Latino Poetry. This is for quality of life as well. The grantor in this case is Library of America. The amount of the award is $1,200, and this is to support Latino Heritage Month celebration hosted by public libraries. My next project is Seniors New Mexico Grown, again with quality of life. This is coming to us from New Mexico Aging and Long-Term Services Division. The amount of the award here is $126,000, and this will be used to purchase local and regional farm fresh produce, as well as New Mexico grown beef for the preparation of meals for seniors. I believe this is my final project here. This is the Youth Leadership Academy. The department for this project is police. The grantor is the Board of Regents, New Mexico State University, and the amount of $8,000. And this is to provide a Youth Leadership Academy to continue a lasting relationship between the police department and MSU and our districts and our youth. I'll go ahead and hand it over to Cynthia Campo.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Councilors, Cynthia Campo, CIP Analyst. I am bringing forth two CIP amendments that, with the acceptance of these two of the grants brought to you today. The first one is the Trails Plus for the $500,000, and I will also have to change the grant match portion to that. And then the other one is the Picacho Avenue Hawk system, and that's just a grant extension of $39,000 to be able to expend it until June of 2025. Any questions?
Any questions by council? Councilor Matisse?
Charlie, I just have some questions on, if you go to page, I think you have 11 of them, pages 1 through 11, and it's under the City of Las Cruces Capital Improvements Program, FY 2024 to 2029.
Okay.
And then you have some explanations on the funding sources, but I notice on several funding sources, I understand grants, I understand taxes, I understand TID, bonds, loans, but many of them, you just have the word other. Could you maybe explain other? And then I'm satisfied. Whatever
Mr.
you
Mayor,
tell me.
Council Matisse, you are referring to the Capital Improvements Program document that you have there? I'll go ahead and refer to Cynthia Campo.
Mayor, Councilor Matisse, the other is actually in reference to fees. So we have different types of fees, and at the very end of the CIP document, it actually does have a section where we say what each one of those funding sources are for.
Thank you. I just saw that in very tiny print. Yeah, I see where you have other includes fees, state entitlements, leases, development contributions, and donations. And while you're answering some clarification for me, I noticed the grand total is, could you explain the grand total of $204,694 and what that represents? And then I noticed in FY25, you have $245,127,000. Just a brief description of those totals.
If the 204 million, I believe, is it's in the green column, so that is the funded portion of anything that is funded in FY24 is in that column. And then the CIP is a 6-year plan, so 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 are all unfunded years. And any time that we have funding for any of these projects, we can move them over to the current fiscal year, and that will be part of that total.
No, thank you. You know, I wasn't here for the first half of 2024, so this was real good data to get. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Councilor Craig?
No, I was going to say, we need to verbally amend it, correct? Or is the amendment already part of the package?
The mayor has the wording for the amendment.
Okay. I propose we amend it with the wording that is already written.
Yes, it says motion to amend Resolution 25-002 to add the City Council, that City Council grant a waiver to the 1-to-1 cash match ratio required per the grant administration program policy for this grant.
So moved. Corin.
Second.
This is on the motion to amend Resolution 25-002 to add that statement that states that City Council grants a waiver of the 1-to-1 cash match ratio required per the grants administration program policy for this grant. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Coran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
And then we need a final vote. All right. This is on the motion to approve Resolution 25-002 as amended. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Coran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
And Mayor?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Next is 8.1, Resolution Number 25-003, a resolution reversing a denial decision of the Planning and Zoning Commission regarding an infill development proposal seeking approval of 15-unit apartment complex and associated development standard waivers on property zoned R1A, single-family, medium density.
Move to approve, Graham.
Second, Corin.
Adam, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Adam Ochoa, Community Development Department, for the record. Before you have a appeal to a proposed infill development proposal for a property located at 725 McClure Road. Subject property is currently zoned R1A, single family, medium density. It is vacant, undeveloped property. It was part of what was called the October Sky subdivision, which was approved in 2021, which created two lots. Essentially, the subject property itself, which was roughly about 1.12 acres in size. Additionally, 0.08 acres were dedicated for right-of-way improvements, future right-of-way improvements. City also purchased roughly about 2.5 acres for drainage improvements in the area. It is located within what we community development staff refer to as the infill development boundary. So basically, this parcel qualifies for the infill process. Again, current conditions, neighborhood is primarily single-family R1A zoning. There are a couple or a few properties within that area that are still zoned R1A, but are non-conforming. That because they have a duplex on the property, a quadplex, and also a mobile home park that is zoned R1A that is inappropriately zoned as well. Subject property is within what is called the suburban neighborhood place type. It's characterized with low to moderate densities of residential intermixed with commercial. Land uses include, as called out by Elevate Las Cruces, single-family uses, multifamily, retail, office, institutional, and public uses as well. McClure Road is currently designated as a major collector roadway. That basically means that it collects and distributes traffic from local roadways to adjacent arterial roadways, which are larger. McClure Road reflects the following traffic counts. These are annual average weekly trips, or AAWDTs. Per the most recent counts by our Mesilla Valley Metropolitan Planning Organization, they provided us these traffic counts just to kind of give an idea of what the traffic is around on McClure. So in 2019, between Valley and Carlisle, there were roughly about 3,700 traffic counts. That increased in 2024 to about 6,800 traffic counts. Between Carlisle and Highland, it actually dropped from about 4,500 to about 3,700. From Highland to Alameda, that also dropped from about 3,800 to 3,400 within that about 5-6 year time span. Staff, when we also took a look at this, we worked with some of our engineers to look at what is called the level of service for McClure Road. Level of service is kind of a measuring device to help to describe operational conditions of a roadway or segment of a roadway. That takes into account speed and travel, traffic movements and interruptions, comfort and convenience while traveling the roadway. Staff estimates that the level of service for McClure roughly is about a C or C minus, so we're barely passing for McClure. Looking here, just quick table kind of explaining what each one means. AB kind of shows like wide open roads, large bicycle areas, large areas for pedestrian walking. CD is a little more constrained bicycle, smaller sidewalks, maybe even no sidewalks. And then E and F are just, it's just basically a completely difficult roadway to travel when they get that type of a grade. Shown here, the zoning map of the property is, again, as you can see, it's just a sea of nothing but R1A in this area. There's one R2 up here to the north. Let's see, again, subject property here is shown, single family all around there, a lot of more rural uses. There's that city property that'll be used for drainage in the future. So essentially what the applicant is proposing is a 15-unit apartment complex with 2 points of ingress and egress directly off of McClure. They are proposing 3 5-unit apartment buildings, 2 stories tall, with each unit being about 884 square feet in size. They're proposing 29 auto parking stalls and 8 bicycle parking stalls, which more than meets the minimum requirements of our codes. They also proposing a dog park, open space and landscape in the front of the property. This is just kind of to provide a screen or a buffer between not only the apartments from the street, but also the apartments from the street and the neighbors to the north, if you will, kind of give a little bit of a relief there. The deviations they're proposing with this infill proposal is, one, the rear yard setback. In the R1A zoning district, there is a minimum 20-foot rear yard setback requirement. They are proposing a 7-foot setback. This is typical, 7-foot setback is typical for all our multifamily zoning in the city of Las Cruces. Another deviation is the density itself. The requirements are maximum permitted by the R1A is 8 dwelling units per acre. They are proposing 13.4 dwelling units per acre. On top of that also is the actual number of dwelling units. Again, R1A is for single family only, so only allowed one house on this property. They are proposing 15 max for the entire development. Showing here kind of just a rough draft of what they would look like. Here are those 3 buildings set all the way to the back. Landscaping around the entire perimeter, with the dog park landscaping along the front to provide that buffer to the street. It's kind of like a rough floor plan of what that property looked like with the 2-story buildings, those elevations of the 2-story buildings. So when staff took their analysis, took this into the analysis stage, we saw that the proposal not substantially out of character with the surrounding area. Staff again worked with engineering. They did a quick little estimate peak hour trips for us, and they estimated about roughly 25 trips are generated. A trip generation count will actually be required when they submit for permitting for the development. It will likely not trigger a full traffic impact analysis because we feel that it won't hit the bar of it being a minimum of more than or equal to 100 peak hour trips per day. Reviews by all staff did see no significant health, safety, and welfare issues associated with the proposal. Considerable support for the infill development proposal via Elevate Las Cruces does exist and was part of the staff report for Planning and Zoning Commission. The proposed density on top of that, under Elevate Las Cruces, it calls out a density for single family this is the suburban place type, 4 to 12 dwelling units per acre for single family and 15 to 30 dwelling units for multifamily. This proposal is doing 13.4 dwelling units per acre, so definitely below what Elevate Las Cruces is guiding us to. Public notice was sent out for the proposal, early notification, and when the case came in for review with staff and to go before the Planning and Zoning Commission. Staff received numerous emails and a few phone calls in opposition to this case. Opposition cited traffic concerns, road design deficiencies, proposed high-density development, increased crime, neighborhood incompatibility, McClure Road speeding that's occurring out there, and just a potential area development. Staff did receive, though, 2 additional phone calls against, but we also received about 6 phone calls supporting the proposed infill development proposal. Well, this is what staff recommended to the Planning and Zoning Commission when it before them. We did recommend conditional approval based on findings. Conditions that the applicant shall work with the city in the installation of pro rata share roadway improvements adjacent to the property, and that the property shall comply with all of the development standards of the R1A zoning district, essentially. The findings were, 1, the development of the vacant property to a productive use is consistent with the infill development plan itself and the overlay. Property is eligible for the infill process. Proposal is supported by various goals, policies, and actions of Elevate Las Cruces. Support speaks to the place type speaks to densities, promoting growth in older areas of the city, promotion of functional of infill development, encouraging variety of housing types, promoting diversity in residential building types, lot sizes, architecture, and so on and so forth like that. As well as the proposed number of units have little impact on McClure traffic patterns. McClure Road is classified as a major arterial roadway where these types of developments are encouraged. Excuse me. Previous proposals deemed excessive and problematic for the area was a proposal for infill for 20 units previously. At that time, P&Z did deny it, and the appeal to City Council, the decision of denial was also upheld as well. Reduction of 5 units from the original proposal for this site is intended to address many concerns generated per the original request of the number of units and the amount of traffic. But we feel that this would take care of that. And of course, the proposed IDP meets the intent of Elevate Las Cruces and meets the intent and purpose of Section 38-2 of the 2001 zoning code, as well as it's compliant with the criteria for decisions out of the Las Cruces Municipal Code, Section 2-382. There we go, dyslexia, sorry about that. On February 27, 2024, the Planning and Zoning Commission did review this. Much discussion took place between the Planning and Zoning Commission and the applicant, and a large amount of public input did occur as well. After a lengthy discussion, the vote went before the Planning and Zoning Commission. They voted 3-3 with one commissioner vacancy. Essentially, the motion failed. In other words, it was denied. So your options today, I don't want to confuse anybody, so I'll read these exactly if we're all on the same page, is one, to vote yes. This will reverse the denial decision of the Planning and Zoning Commission and will approve the infill development proposal with 15 dwelling units. 2, to vote no. This will uphold the denial decision made by the Planning and Zoning Commission. The applicant will have to either abide by the R1A regulations or submit an alternate proposal. 3, to amend. This could allow City Council to modify the resolution by voting yes and adding conditions to the proposal. Or 4, table, postpone, and direct staff and the applicant accordingly. That is the conclusion of my presentation. I stand for questions.
All right, thank you, Adam. Before we get to council, I'm going to go ahead. There's a couple of appellants that want to speak, so I'll call them up first. They need to be sworn in by the clerk. It's James Vaccaro and Lucinda Rivas. Yes, you need to be sworn in, and then I'll go ahead and give you each 3 minutes.
Okay, do you both swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under penalty of law? Thank you.
I do.
Thank you.
Yes, I wasn't going to speak, but I am going to now, so I'm sorry that I don't have anything in front of me. But my name is Lucinda. I've come before you before. I really believe in this project. As I had mentioned before, the owner's mom lives on Golden Drive. She walks all the time. And the reason the family bought this home for her is because she's one of the ones that doesn't drive. So she was using the busing right down by the Benevides Center. She also utilizes the Benevides Center. Many of her friends at the Benevides Center would like our complex. I think even before one of the persons representing the Benevides Center spoke up on our behalf and said that they had many people interested that, they want to live close to town. They don't drive anymore, or they don't drive at all. And this is what we want to give back to the community. I may feel graduate. My grandmother was also on Golden Drive for 20-some years. We love this community. I know the opposers are afraid of change, but the crime that comes with it, that doesn't exist. We're not going to be a low-income housing. We're going for the low-medium, which is what the community is. And that's kind of what I just wanted to say.
Good afternoon, everybody. Not to go into too much detail, but first and foremost, I just want to thank community development staff for that presentation. It was really well put together and frankly supportive. Moving on, though, I guess more importantly what I want to discuss is actually the trip count. So all the opposition for this project is specific to the road infrastructure itself. It's not to this building. It's not to anything that we're bringing with this building. It's the road. The trip count that the city manager, or the traffic manager rather, estimated was 25 per day based off of that and the data earlier. That's less than a percentage of the commuted traffic on that road. When I did my own calculations just based off the Bureau statistic of a 10 per household, that's 150 per day That's 15 units, 10 per day at worst case scenario, and that's assuming they were going the length of McClure, which they're not because we're in the center of it. That's less than 4%. So when we're talking about 1 to 4% of the traffic is going to be caused by us if we build this building, that's pretty minute. That's actually almost not even noticeable. I encourage somebody to notice that. In addition to that, in the past conversations with P&Z, and it might even been with previous city council meetings, don't really recall, the city actually informed us that they reached out to the neighbors and actually wanted to develop that infrastructure. In doing so, they need to purchase the land from the owners on that street, and a lot of them denied selling that land to improve the roadway. So we're a little confused now. Do they want to build onto the property and infrastructure, become more safe? Whether that be widening the road, building a sidewalk, I'm not quite sure what we can do to satisfy the area, but I can make sure that what we do with this building in our lot is the best that we can offer, and obviously we work with the IDP and everything else in the standards. So that's really all I wanted to say. I don't really have anything further than that, but I think actually the traffic, which is the biggest opposition, it's very minor. It's almost not even noticeable. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions by council? Councilor Flores.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for being here today. So how many units are there going to be?
There's going to be 15,
15.
3 buildings and 15 townhomes.
Okay, and, but Mr. Ochoa, you said that a TIA wasn't necessary because of the number? And that's one thing that, I mean, it's
Mayor, Councilor Flores, our staff just did utilized our current codes to do a quick count as to what that would be. They estimated it's about 25. So because of that, in order
increment, 25?
Total of 25 per day for the entire development. That being said, they still will have to do some type of traffic generation count for us to make sure that our numbers align with theirs. But the only time an actual traffic impact analysis is required is when it's either 100 or more traffic count per day. So staff feels that more than likely a full traffic impact analysis will not be required, ma'am.
Okay, but there is going to be
a trip generation count, yes, ma'am.
And then, so what happens if it's higher than what you anticipated, what you presented today?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Flores, and they'll have to do a full-on traffic impact analysis.
Okay, so construction will not begin until all of that is resolved?
Correct, ma'am.
Great, thank you. And so, you know, the part that, you know, never mind, I won't voice it. You indicated that it's going to be for affordable housing or not affordable housing. I wasn't too sure what you meant by your statement.
It's not affordable housing, meaning low income. It'll be generated to where the neighborhood sits at, like a middle income.
Okay, but, well, so you're saying that you also mentioned that the Benavides Center is down the road, and that's some people who go there are interested in maybe being tenants in that building?
That is what I was told.
Okay, and I don't know about anybody else, but most retirees, well, how much do you think they're going to be rented for?
Approximately $900 a month.
Yeah. Okay, so those seniors should probably be told that they probably can't afford that. I mean, Social Security doesn't pay out that much for a lot of seniors, but I guess my concern is that, I mean, free enterprise, you know, God bless America for that. On the other hand, I was hoping that the housing would be more affordable. And also, with all due respect, well, no, I won't say it. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mayor Pro Tem.
Thanks. Thank you for your presentation. For you as well, Mr. Ochoa. I
appreciate the new information and the map on here as well. Did I count 26 parking lots, or or will you have 30 spots? Sorry.
Mayor Pro Tem, I believe the magic number is 29 auto parking stalls in total.
Okay, thank you. And then I do just have a couple things I want to say about the road ahead of the vote, but I just quick thought as well. I think it's just important that I correct some myths that sometimes just like have negative connotations with affordable housing. That I know this is not what it is, and all housing impacts our housing crisis. All housing is good housing for the housing shortage that we are experiencing, regardless of whether yours will be affordable housing or not. But affordable housing or housing that's for low-income families, it is just a wide myth that brings crime. That is just not true, and it's just a harmful narrative to perpetuate that I think we should just not continue to do that.
I also, just speaking about traffic, we have another complex unit, and I would say 90% of our tenants are single people. There's not, even though they're 2-bedroom, there's only one person. There's a fireman, there's a teacher. They have different hours. They don't leave all necessarily from 8 to 5. So I just want to make that in there, that there's probably not all going to be 2 cars per.
Right.
Yes.
Correct. Right. Thank you. And then just additionally, and this isn't for you specifically, this is just as a whole for staff and for the community here that lives in this area. The traffic issues that exist on McClure and Hoagland are longstanding. They've been there for a really long time. They need to be seriously addressed, and I've been talking about these things for a really long time. I don't believe that adding 15 additional units here will have a severe impact on that. I think the impact is already there. In advance for this conversation, I spoke with Senator Kerry Hamlin, whose neighborhood this is as well, and Representative Nathan Small regarding a partnership for potential state funding that can come to relieve some of the issues that we're seeing on both of these streets, which are very similar. Mayfield High School is right there, and so I don't want to be dismissive of the serious traffic concerns that exist here in this neighborhood, right? They're very real. And you showed these numbers, and I don't believe you're being dismissive of that. I want to just reiterate that those concerns are very, very real. These roads get backed up significantly at high peak times, especially when the school is in session. Those things are very real. I just don't believe that 15 units is going to necessarily make this ginormous impact. So I will tell you all that this morning I got commitment from both Senator Hamlin and Senator Small to pursue state funding for traffic calming efforts on both of these streets, on both Hoagland and McClure, because they're just vitally important. I've talked to staff already about applying to possible places like, the name of the program escapes me, but Representative Small sort of mentioned this earlier to me, and I forwarded this to staff, and I'll be advocating for us to apply to the municipal arterial program so that, again, we can get actual relief for these streets that these issues have just been long-standing, and we should address them, whatever that might look like. So I just wanted to note that because putting up barriers for additional housing isn't actually going to solve our traffic problem on McClure and Hoagland. Bringing in funding and measures that are actually going to impact traffic, that's what's going to help us. And I will continue. You have my commitment that I will continue to advocate for that for both of these streets. So I just wanted to say that before the vote.
May I also? I just also want to mention that we have given up. We will be putting in a sidewalk, and we also have given up an easement for a walking path that is planned in the future. And of course, we sold for the flood. That is a big problem, because as I mentioned, his mother lives in the neighborhood, and we do want to better it. So I don't know if I know everybody's concerned, but are they willing to give up their little piece to put in a good sidewalk for everybody?
Okay, thank you. Is there any other questions by council at this time? I'm going to go ahead and open it up to public comments, if y'all want to have a seat.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and give you 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Mayor.
No, not for public comment.
Well, my name is Prasanna Pai.
Could you speak a little louder and directly into the microphone? Thank you.
I'm a bit soft-spoken person, but again, I want to do the thank you, Mayor, council person, and also chiefs. I'm a resident of Las Cruces for 23 years. I have participated in the healthcare industry here as well as development. If Mr. Your name? Mr. Ochoa, if you could bring that map. Thank you. So that green portion which is seen there, that's my home. That's not rural. That's my home. And that's where I've been living, the entire green area. So I've been here for 23 years. My kids were born and brought up here. Now, there's nothing wrong with having more housing. There's nothing wrong with building more housing because we do need that. However, after 4 rejections, there has to be some compromise between what the community wants and not disregard them and what a housing crisis wants, a solution of housing crisis wants. So it's not like we don't want something built there, but have some reasonable density. Have give him an increased density of single-family homes, fine. But 15 there is just a bit too much. Now, what's going to happen is, if you see, there's a narrow road which goes between that and my property. In future, since there's a center and this has to be built, you are going to negate 10 acres of property which can have housing. So for 15, you're going to sacrifice almost 300 units. Also, there is traffic coming from the new units which are built on 3 Cruces, which there's no exit to Mayfield High. They have to either go through Hoagland or McClure, so it's going to increase. Finally, the drawing which has been shown, the dog park is right next to my gate. It's not on McClure. And as Chief Story knows, I have asked several times to rescue me from dog attacks, and that's coming right at my gate. If you bring the drawing, it's not on McClure, it's right next to my gate. Yeah, see, McClure's on the top, the dog part is on this side, which is the gate. So I think the drawing which you've shown is flipped in this case. So anyway, the point is that we want something done here. Let's have a compromise between what the housing crisis needs and what the community needs, because it's the 4th attempt. And at some point we have to listen to the community too. Anyway, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, come on up.
Sorry, I'll be real quick. I don't want to interrupt on everybody else's opportunity to speak. I just want to clarify on one thing.
Go ahead and state your name again for the record.
James Vaccaro for the record, representing Mississippi Valley Properties. The gentleman prior to this indicated that we'd be building and essentially building on top of the road. The road is still going to exist to his property line. And then furthermore, to talk about the dog park, we can put it wherever the city actually indicates us to place it, but nonetheless, we want that as an amenity for the residents in this housing area. And then lastly, it's a gated community. There's fencing 6 foot high all around the entire thing. So the dogs are contained, not only in a dog park, but also within the entire property. So I don't feel like there's a threat to the neighbor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to?
Mayor, Councilman, City Manager. First of all, I want to thank you guys for for cleaning up Lakeside Drive and 17th Street when I sent you the emails to requesting it done with the city mess we had down there. Ms. Bencomo took most of my wind out of me with her announcement about the road.
Sir, can we get your name for the record?
I'm sorry. I'm Gary Visage. I've lived in that Highland area for 30 years now. I see it declining every year. I have several code violations in my area, which I spoke to you before about, and that we need to do something about that, but that's a different subject. With this subject here, that's always been an eyesore on McClure there. And there's no bike paths there, there's no pedestrian right-of-ways through there. From Benavides on to Valley, the new projects, it is. But from Benavides, which is 2nd Street, all the way through the other way, it isn't. So there's no sidewalks, there's no bike paths, there's no turn lanes. In fact, there's no division lines to determine the center of the road. And when it rains, it floods all the way across that road. Several times during the winter, I would have to actually stop so pedestrians can walk out around the water, the kids going to school, just to get by the traffic without us drowning them with our cars. The one other thing I want to make is the $900 a month for apartments. Mrs. Flores made the statement that you don't live on, the senior citizens don't make that much on Social Security. Well, I'm 81 years old, and we don't all live necessarily just on Social Security. So let's make that a point too. In other words, we need to do something about the street before we add anything more there. I'm not opposed to what's going on with the apartments there. I think it's a good idea. It's a good place for it. It's a good fill close, besides it's close to the railroad tracks, and you're not going to get a lot of other construction in that area. But let's please work on the road. Let's get the road done first, and then let's put something in there viable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, David Wheeler and Mayor and Council. I just couldn't help when I got up to come up here and thinking, wow, wouldn't I be something trying to make it from the apartments to the Benavides Center across that railroad track? It's interesting to think about. Anyway, Prasad was right. This is the 4th time. It's always been voted down. There's a reason for that. You know, we're not against change. We like change, and we're not against, we're not pro-drug, or well, I'm not saying they said that, but just the whole concept of things are just fine. No, they're not just fine. We understand that. And the traffic is bad. And I know one way to do it is to not make it just a little worse so that we can build this property here. I think if we had 2 or 3 nice single-family homes in that area, built by the same people to try to make their money off of it, let them do that. I've got no problem with that. I've got no problem with any of that. It's the fact that that's too many cars right there by the track. Incidentally, I live right next door to them. I'm right in front of Persona Pi. And we see it all the time where cars will be late, kids will be going to school, whatever, and they see the railroad track starting, and they just fly down that street to try to get across the track before the train comes. And it happens like every day, every single day, twice a day on, forgot that there's 2 trains on one of the days. But, you know, he's right. Enough times of trying to like, talk ourselves into doing this. Why don't we do something that can change, that we can agree with, that won't endanger people? Because having cars going in and out right next to the tracks, it's right next to the tracks. And there's 2 of them, like within, like not even like 60 feet from the tracks, you know, something like that. I don't care read it. But there's so much traffic. People are trying to go in and out of there. And on rush hour. Whether you live there and work at night or not, the cars going up and down there on rush hour is crazy. And in the morning, it's also crazy. So, yeah, let's do something else. Build something else. You know, put something in there that we're not against housing. I'm not against affordable housing. I know there should be. It's just too much. It's too much. We're not going to make it any better by building a bunch of houses or a bunch of apartments that are going to make the traffic just a little bit worse and make people in danger trying to go across that road and no sidewalks or anything. You can build one, but whatever, you know what I'm saying. So please, let's just do something different. Like 3 houses and we'd be done.
Good afternoon. My name is Victor Hernandez. I have been living on Neely Road, which is just off of McClure Road. My house, the backyard faces the Benavides Center. I've been there for about 20 years. I've heard all this talk about, improving going forward. I'm all for it, going forward. The biggest thing on McClure is one word: safety. McClure is not a safety road. Again, you've heard it already, no sidewalks. At dawn, at dusk, people are walking. Sometimes you don't even see them. You have to go around them. If you visit somebody on a house off of McClure and park on the street, there's no way, you gotta wait for oncoming traffic to pass before you can go forward. That's how small, that narrow that road is. There's no flood control. There's not enough lighting. It's dark. I think that you all should consider first improving McClure Road before having any kind of more development there. There is enough traffic, and I use that road every day. So I know, and I've seen it. I see it firsthand, and it has gotten worse in the 20 years that I have been there. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Thanks for having me again. It's my 4th time up here on this issue. Feel kind of at home up here now. I'm a block captain on McClure. I live at 320 McClure, across from what we affectionately call McClure Ruins. That's 315, 317, and 319 McClure, which is 3 lots.
Sir,
I was going to talk about traffic.
Could you give us your name, sir?
Yes, I'm Don Lappinga. Sorry about that. I was going to talk about traffic, but that's been kind of talked about already, and we can do all the traffic studies we want. We live there. And we've got trucks coming from the new development with the school district on Toshiro. We've got trucks from the Metal Fabricing Company down on 2nd. So we have trucks there, we have school buses, we have semi-trucks coming through. It's not a feeder street, it's a thoroughfare right now because of all the development out west. I ride my bike to the river. Half of that is new home development, hundreds of houses out there. Where there's traffic going? It's going to McClure and to Hoagland to get to North Main because they want to stay off Picacho. My main issue here is this is opening the floodgates for some other properties on McClure, specifically across from me. That gentleman's been trying to sell that for 7 years. I just talked to a developer who is working for a potential buyer of that property, who indicates that he probably wants to put multifamily housing there. So that would be another multifamily housing on McClure. There's another property 2 houses down that's been vacant and unoccupied for since I've been there, for 8 years. And so we're opening a floodgate here for this small community neighborhood. Friday, I walked around the whole neighborhood, gave out these to get people to come to our meeting. And I gave some on Carlisle all the way up There's 2 cul-de-sacs there. As I was walking, all these homes are individual. People give their heart and soul into their properties. And I was walking back to McClure, and I had a vision of apartments there. They do not fit in with the character, nature, historical value of that neighborhood. And we're all for affordable housing, we're all for expanding that, but this is not the place to be building apartments. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Jorge Aguirre, and I am here to speak in favor of this project. This project only includes 15 houses, and what I've heard from the concerns of the neighbors is that the worst that can happen is that they increase 2 minutes their commute home, right? Oh my God, somebody who owns a car with car conditioner is gonna have to spend 2 more minutes on their vehicle. What a tragedy! We have a 5,000 house deficit in the city. We have a population of homeless people that is growing. We have poverty spread throughout the city, and we have an immigrant crisis at our doorstep. We have a lot of problems in our community caused by poverty and inequality and lack of housing, but we're very concerned about the traffic time. Oh my God, if it takes me a little bit more to get to my house. Absolutely. I don't like to be in my car either. We all hate our cars. But it is not by developing, it is not by doing everything else first. We need housing first, before sidewalks, before everything else. We need to have densified city so that we can build public transportation and sidewalks that people prefer to use over vehicles. And I understand the concern because all we know is car-centered development. All we have, even our largest city is El Paso. The nicest place you can go to is a strip mall because everything is built, single-family homes and strip malls. It looks ugly everywhere. So now, in order to alleviate traffic like we all want, what we really need is infrastructure that is citizen-centered for pedestrians, for bicycles. And lastly, what I want to say is retail businesses do better with pedestrian-centered infrastructure. It isn't cars that buy things. It isn't cars that incentivize the economy, that build, that are professionals. It is people. It is people who walk by and see a shop and then enter just to see. Maybe they find something. That's the nature of business. It isn't driving by and seeing a business and you never stop. That's not true. So anyway, I just want to speak in support of this development. Of course, it isn't perfect. There's things I would improve, but it's the housing that we need. So we have 4,985 more to approve. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Rosie Carrillo. I am going to read off of my notes because I spent most of the night thinking and pondering over this. So I'm not going to sway from it. Most of it may be repeated, but I will just read to you. From my notes, we're not opposing development or improvement or homes, definitely needed. It is our hope that our voices reference issues of extreme concerns are considered and not just heard. As we have been here before with considerable concerns of ongoing safety issues. Dangerous situations are only increasing. It is disbelief that we have to continue repeating the same process of imploring that our concerns be heard, and that the comprehension of what is presented with concerns is repetitive. As we hold our children accountable to understand that what is no, we hold a great respect to large corporations when they respect the community's decision. As Walmart endeavored situating their proposal in All Valley some years back, the community declined, and so this large entity respected and situated where traffic was much more feasible. It is hard to understand why the developers seem oblivious to the concerns of McClure community and surrounding community, disregarding unsafe issues pointed out to them. When a remark by the developer was that they only want to do something nice for these people, we would think they would advocate our concerns of safety. That be so, ponder these questions. Why would something nice be situated where it would be impacting more dangerous issues? Why are lives not considered in the viewpoint? Why propose a high-density endeavor to expose us and add families to an impacted, unsafe area? Plans on paper, proposals on paper can look good, but may lack a sense of reality and a cause for a domino effect of issues where dangers are current and need to be addressed. Mr. Kaiser of the Planning Commission had stated that he believed that the development might be a catalyst to street improvement. Again, another contradictory view of the present matter at hand. Reason for my view is that several subdivisions surrounding McClure from over 40 years to present have been built, and 2 years much later and present, our street remains neglected and only unsafe. Situations have increased. We have never opposed improvement, as there has never been any measure to attempt presented to us who live there. My husband has been a resident, born and raised 74 years. Since marriage, I've lived there 47 years. It is a generational property and will continue to be passed on to our children. This area has been of our Johnson and Carrillo family for over 100 years. Negative rumors and opinions will not change people's minds unless you prove the integrity to consider the problem and concerns pointed out by the citizens who implore you to have regard of safety first as a priority. Increased traffic from many various areas utilize McClure. And I thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Karen Pruitt.
And I'm Tom Pruitt.
We live on Carlisle. We've bought our house in 1981, and we've seen a lot of changes in the area. To me, mostly good, except for the traffic. Hoagland and McClure, as you have heard, has been the same since we have been there. There are basically no sidewalks on McClure. There is no bike path and no room to put one, or the sidewalks. There is a ditch there that comes out to the street, so to get around the ditch, you have to walk into the street. When our daughter was born and she was going to go to Alameda Elementary, that is the path that she would have had to take. There is no way that I would have ever let her walk that street. I was in a position where I took her, and that's what I did. We weren't in the bus. We weren't that far out. She couldn't ride a bus. And the same daughter was T-boned coming out of our street on Carlisle, turning left on McClure by a hit and run. She was not hurt. There is limited visibility at that corner. Cars come barreling down on both sides. And I was told that 2 minutes wasn't a big deal. Well, if you're having a heart attack or your house is on fire and an ambulance is trying to get there or a fire truck, it's a big deal. One time I had to go, and from Alameda, which has no turn lane, to Raymond, which is quite a ways down, the traffic was backed up that entire way. It took me a lot longer than 2 minutes. This is something I'm sure is a problem, but in Las Cruces, as far as I can tell, there's quite a bit of land. You're trying to develop Picacho and El Paseo. Those have 4-lane roads. Put your apartment there, develop that. Don't put it in a neighborhood that has been there as a residential neighborhood for this whole time and ruin our properties and increase a problem that, let's deal with the problem first before we increase even one car on it if we can help it.
I appreciate Council Bencomo for enlightening us on that there are going to be some investigations, I guess, into improvements out there. But like my wife said, it's been 43 years there and no changes from the railroad tracks all the way to Alameda, just none. The last thing I'd like to comment on was in the previous presentation, there was a comment about not being substantially out of character for the area, but it is out of character.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name's Pia English, and I've lived on McClure Road for half my life. That's 30 years. And I do want to say that there's been a lot of change since I've been there, but unfortunately for the worse. And I hate to keep saying the S word, but it's safety. And because we are a variable use sidewalks, some houses have sidewalks, some don't. I wouldn't walk a dog on that street. I wouldn't walk myself on that street. I wouldn't walk the street when I bought the house. And I was a lot braver then. And I just want to say that this is the 4th time that this will come before any of you, all of you. And the only change is that one building has been deleted from the plan. As far as the traffic goes, the traffic study was last done in 2019. I realize the city can't do a 3-year check on traffic, but the traffic has increased. And those that voted in favor of this proposal, I was up several hours yesterday evening, last night, and I think that to make a decision, you need to base your decision on evidence, not feelings. And more than once in the document, staff members said they feel that they voted based on feelings, that we would not be negatively impacted traffic-wise. But you need to base that on evidence, not feelings. Everyone has feelings, but what can you prove? And the last thing I want to say is that I wouldn't want to live a stone's throw from the railroad crossing and in a flood zone. Those are things that need to be taken into consideration. And there are also, as of this morning, there's 200 vacant lots that can be purchased and developed by the city to make affordable housing a reality for those who need it. Thank you so much.
Mayor and Council, my name is Linda Maddox, M-A-T-T-O-X. I live on Golden Drive. It is a dead-end street that comes out to Carlisle, and my only way of exiting to go do what I need to do is to either go down Hoagland or go down McClure. And I have been choosing McClure more often because Hoagland is usually even more highly trafficked. I've seen the area west of the railroad tracks developed over many years that used to be fields. I have seen an increase in traffic all during the day. I do not feel safe to walk on McClure, ride my bike on McClure. I only drive on McClure because I have to, and the part of McClure that, in my eyes, it's most dangerous is between the railroad tracks and the ditch, because it gets narrowed down to exactly 2 cars, and there's no edge of anything, and I'm concerned about emergency access if we need help, a fire or whatever. I am concerned about the 2 power poles at the residence 606 are on each side of the road. Property lines for people are the road is right up against their property line. There's no grace, there's no space, and that also visibility changes throughout the day as the sun rises and falls. Yes, we do need more housing in our city, and the proposed design of the two-story complexes don't suit our character of our neighborhood. So maybe 5 or 6 single-story duplexes. And I believe that safety needs to be addressed first. So if there's some kind of a relationship that can be between the city and the developer to get these roads safe, either with a light. Yes, we have gone through many things throughout the years. I've lived there trying to slow down the traffic so it can become safer. So there has been attempts, and it's been managed north of the railroad tracks, but this area has not been dealt with in a jointed effort between the developer and the city to fix the safety issues first and then go into the development issues, because we need both. And at the previous meeting, they said the apartments were going to rent for $1,200 to $1,400. So this is the first that I've heard of $900. So I don't think that it really provides, access for everybody. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Council, any other questions or comments? Okay, I think we're all aware that the shortage of... Okay, if you can come up. I'll give you 2 minutes because we need to wrap up.
Hello, my name is Tyler Rivas, and I am in favor of this proposal. Right now, we have obviously a housing crisis, and we just don't need affordable housing. We need all types of housing, and right here is a solution, in my opinion. Because even though we also need affordable housing, we also need every other type of housing. And right here, we have 15 units close to the city center, where people, obviously, there's a safety concern with the road and the condition of the road and the lighting of the road and the lack of bike lanes. But this proposal can also come at the same time. They could be together. Two things can be true at once, you know? That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, that's pretty much what I was going to say, was that it's obvious that we have a shortage of housing, and it is a safety issue in McLaurin. It's been like that for years. I think there's already been a compromise from going from 20 units to 15 units, so we do have to work hand in hand in safety, but we'll see how we vote on this. So, Christine?
Adam, can you pull up the vote yes, vote no? Okay. You guys got it?
Point of order, would you like me to clarify those yeses and nos?
Yeah, go ahead and say it again.
Okay. Then I would, that's for sure. So your options today, Council, is 1, to vote yes. This will reverse the denial decision made by the Planning and Zoning Commission and will approve the infill development proposal with the 15 units as proposed. 2, to vote no. This will uphold the denial decision made by the P&Z, and the applicant will have to abide by the R1A regulations as written and submit an alternate request for consideration. 3, to vote to amend. This could allow City Council to modify the resolution by voting yes and adding conditions as deemed appropriate. Or 4, table postpone and direct staff and the applicant accordingly. Thank you.
So this is on the motion to approve Resolution 25-003. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
No.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Cran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, next is item 8.2, ordinance number 3070, an ordinance amending ordinance 2698 for the dedication of a municipal hold harmless gross receipt tax.
Move to approve, Graham.
Second, Corin.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. For the record, my name's Leanne Demush. I'm your Finance Director. And as you know, today is July 1 of 24. This is the first day of our brand new fiscal year. So happy new fiscal year. So before you, let me put this in. Okay, before you is some changes, some cleanup that I am suggesting, our finance department is suggesting. Just to give you a little bit of background, back in 21, legislative passed House Bill 479, and I think some of the counselors that had been on at the time when I brought this forward, I know the mayor was here as the fire chief, and I think Councilor Bencomo and Councilor Flores was on when I brought up House Bill 479. And at that time, taxation and rev was this 479. What it did was it removed any dedicated restrictions to any GRT that had been accepted by a council body or by a commission or whatever. And they, anything that was approved by council, I brought an ordinance to council changing what the dedication was to make it very unrestricted. That's what the taxation, that's what this legislation did, and that's what Tax and Rev had wanted us to do. So I brought two ordinances. One was for the street improvement ordinance, and the other one was for our environmental GRT. I did not bring at that time the hold harmless GRT, which was ordinance 2698. That was not part of the unrestricted ordinances because at that time there was a possible potential of clawback because hold harmless was still very active at that time. That is no longer the case, and we don't have any feel anything about any clawback from the state or anything on the hold harmless. The state does report our GRT as all unrestricted is just a lump sum that we receive from them. Currently, ordinance 2698, this is what the dedication reads. It says revenue from the municipal hold harmless GRT will be used for any specific purpose or area of municipal government services, including but not limited to police protection, fire protection, public transportation, or street repair and maintenance. What we are proposing, as we did the other two ordinances, for the dedication to just read that the revenue from the municipal hold harmless GRT will be unrestricted. And we're going, as always, you know that we're always going through doing fund maintenance. As you know, we have hundreds and hundreds of funds, and we're always trying to clean up our funds. And that was one of the reasons why you're wondering, why did this pop up all of a sudden, Leanne? Well, it's sort of out of sight, out of mind, but it popped up on me again when we were doing some cleanup, looking at GFOA and gap maintenance. We're always looking at the language in that. So it popped up on my radar again, and it's just sound financial practices as well, and that's why I brought it forward to you today. And with that, these are your council options, and I stand for any questions.
All right, thank you, Leanne. Any questions from council? Okay.
I just want to say, just continue to be deeply grateful for you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Councilor.
Go ahead, Chrissy.
This is on the motion to approve ordinance 3070. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Cran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
And Mayor?
Yes. Next is 8.3, Council Bill number 24-029, ordinance number 3071, an ordinance approving a zone change from C2 to C3 for property encompassing 2.56 plus acres and located at 2605 Baton Memorial West.
Move to approve. Second, Graham.
And Adam.
Mayor, Adam Ochoa, Community Development, for the record again. The applicant has actually requested staff to postpone this proposed zone change to our next city council meeting, which is on the 15th, I believe. So we could, they ran into a problem with the zone change, and they're trying to hammer it out before they come before you. So there may be a slight change to what they're proposing at the next meeting on the 15th.
I just want to say I'm really bummed because this is like one of the few zone changes that's in my neighborhood, and I was so ready for everything today, so I'm kind of bummed. Sorry, Adam, this is in my neighborhood, in my backyard. I can't wait to see it in 2 weeks.
Okay, so you want to make a motion to table it for 2 weeks?
Sorry, before we do that, Christine, is that workable for the agenda for 2 weeks?
Yes, I would just table it specifically to July 15th.
Okay, thank you.
That was my movement. That was my motion. I can't wait to see it on July 15th because I moved to table till July 15th.
Second, Graham.
So this is on the motion to table ordinance 3071 to July 15th. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Cran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
And Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next is board appointments, and we have none. Next is a notice of proposed ordinance. There are 3 to be brought forward. Council number 25-001, ordinance 3072, an ordinance adopting a municipal gross receipt tax. And then,
Me?
Councilor Flores, you had a question?
Yes, I'd like clarification on 10.1.
That's a GRT. It's the first read.
Yeah, well,
What's your
a
question?
counselor may ask for clarification.
Yeah, what's?
I would like to know, procedurally, maybe it would be Christine who could shed some light or edify me for edification. What happens if we, well, first of all, it's a question of getting gross receipt tax issue on the agenda at a future time. No?
Councilor Flores, we need to bring this forward with the GRT ballot question, and that's why it's on a first read for July 1st. It will be brought forward along with a resolution on July 15th. You'll be hearing them together.
Okay, then, my understanding when we discussed this at a previous meeting was that that it wouldn't go to the public. I mean, excuse me, that it would not, it was a decision that the public would make. Yes, and so now it looks like we're going to be making that decision. I just want a clarification.
Yeah, this ordinance is actually for the public vote. We have to approve this ordinance so that if the ballot question is approved, we can send the ordinance to the state. So this ordinance that's coming before you is not for your portion, it's for the ballot question portion. It's just something we have to preemptively do.
For the state?
Correct.
Not for us?
Correct.
And yeah, so that's clear now.
Correct.
Thank you very much. Thank
you,
Mayor.
Councilor Flores.
Bring it forward.
The next one is 10.2, Council Bill number 20-002, ordinance number 3073, an ordinance approving a zone change from C2 to C3.
Bring it forward.
10.3, Council number 25-003, ordinance number 3074, an ordinance approving a zone change from R1A, single family, medium density, to C3C, commercial high density.
Bring it forward.
Okay, next we have City Council Board Member reports and comments. I'll start, Councilor McClure.
Thank you, Mayor. Last week, I went to the fire department graduation, and I just wanted to give a kudos to how much hope I walked away from going to that. I mean, also bagpipes, also very cool. But that there are people willing to give their entire careers to a city that may change, may look different in the future, And I think that's kind of a discussion we're grappling with, this idea of what our city will look like. It will look different. It looked different when I was 20 years ago, came here for the first time. So I think that balance is going to be hard to achieve if people can't have a vision for what they could look like. And I think it is hopeful to see still people willing to give their entire careers to that idea. I am interested too about the cannabis companies, partially because it's so interesting to me that it feels like it's stifling innovation here in southern New Mexico. And I think that's a consideration if we want to actually have that discussion about what that might look like for us to have that, because it sounds like Albuquerque can sell their product here and harder for us. So I wouldn't want to stifle our economic opportunities. And lastly, I wanted to give a shout out to Mervda, who was keeping us informed, the dispatch center with all of the storms, letting us know how they were doing that. And it's always interesting to me when we think about first responders. Of course, we think about fire department and police, but also our dispatchers and our utilities who are out there in the storms, making sure that we still have power and wastewater flowing. So not super interesting, but very valued if it's not there. So thank you guys for what you do, and I just want to pass it off. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McClure. Councilor Matisse?
I just want to mention, Mayor, and I'd like to thank the staff. I had a town hall meeting, District 2 meeting at Las Cruces High, and we had 6 presenters. Chris, you were one of them. It was really good. It was good information. We had almost 80 people that attended the Las Cruces High District meeting. I also want to thank Barbara Bencomo and our deputy chief. He, in fact, all six representatives, Scott, Katrina, everyone stayed after even 7:30 and fielded questions from almost 80 people. So I just want to put that on record. We have a really super staff, and they really are concerned about what the citizens need in our city. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Matisse. Councilor Grant?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Craig?
Thank you. I want to echo Councilor McClure's hopefulness of the LCFD graduation. It was great to see the new class and hear their tales and welcome them to the city staff. So thank you for the invitation, and for those who signed up to join your impressive ranks. I won't recommend that you all have a bagpipe regiment, I guess, because I think Councilor Graham lives with a firefighter, and that would be horrible to have if Mike were learning the bagpipes. I'm sure that would be, a lot of spouses would be really angry if we were suddenly having folks learn bagpipes. I think it's a pretty steep learning curve, actually, on that particular instrument. But thank you again for the invitation. I also want to thank the staff who helped me put on the Check the Chip events that were really successful. We talked to a lot of folks who, the staff, Katrina in particular, the animal control officers, and the ASCMV staff who worked together to talk to a lot of folks who had no idea about what their animals' chips said, or had adopted from the ASCMV and really just wanted to show off their animals after having adopted them. I did want to, a couple things came to light in those conversations. One of them was that a lot of people don't know what their microchips say, and I urge you all to follow up with your vet and find out what your microchip number is. And then when you call the chip company that owns your chip, they might tell you have to pay money, but just so you know, your microchip lasts forever, and they have to keep your information up to date, and the Animal Services Center keeps a separate database so that they can also help you if your animals are picked up by ACOs on July 4th. So don't pay the chip companies any money. You don't have to do that. But please do check to make sure that your microchips are up to date, because of the folks that we saw, I don't know, we probably scanned 25 or 30 people, and I think about 2/3 of those folks had incorrect information within their files for their animals and their chips. So it was a really good and powerful lesson for me, and I really appreciate the staff that helped do that. On another note, with the ASCMV, we have received a bunch of applicants for the community positions. We're in the process of evaluating those and anticipate having those folks for appointment on July 15th at the next board meeting. So we'll be appointing the city representatives to the Animal Services Board then. So that's forthcoming in the near future. So that's, I think, all that I have this week. Let me just make sure that I haven't missed anything. Yep, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Gunn. Councilor Flores.
Thank you. I have a question for my colleague, Mr. Matisse. I have a question. So
I hope it's a good one.
It's going to be a good one.
Okay.
Okay. After all these years of being, you were mayor, you were counselor before being a counselor today, right? So, and you live in the same district, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what were the questions any different, the issues that were brought up at your community meeting, different than the ones that you were dealing with, what was it, 20 years ago? Or how many years ago was it?
75. No. A bunch of years. No, similar questions, basically roadway improvements. Of course, I think the mayor will agree that the crime questions are very prevalent today. What's happening in different neighborhoods. That was much higher. But everything else was, I think, very similar. I mean, cities grow, and I think we've had a lot of comments on the growth, but I think everybody's been pleased with the quality of life achievements that we have done in the last 75 years. But I think everything was pretty much the same. Thank you, Dr. Flores.
You're welcome. I really don't have, well, I do have a lot to say, but I'm really tired. I'll pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Flores. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thanks. I have just a couple things, few things. I was really just, my heart was full to see the amount of support that our community here in Las Cruces is offering to our neighbors in Ruidoso and Mescalero tribes. I think at one point I saw that some folks in Ruidoso were saying, stop sending stuff, if you can provide monetary donations. We're literally running out of space to keep all of these things, and so that's just really beautiful. That's the Las Cruces I know. In 2019, it was really similar when we started receiving asylum seekers. I mean, there was volunteers, there was things donated. That's the Las Cruces that I know, that we have each other's back in a moment of crisis, and just desperately seeking that as our own Las Crucens experience their own moment of crisis, and they're finding themselves unsheltered or unhoused. Desperately seeking that same feeling here. I think that leads me to just, touch base on the grants pass decision that the Supreme Court made a couple of days ago, where they said that municipal governments can literally now criminalize sleeping outside. And I think this is a cruel decision. I think this is an inhumane decision made by an ultra right-wing extremist Supreme Court. And I really, really hope with all of my being that no one on this dais is hoping to follow suit, as that would not be reflective of the values of this community. And I'm just truly, I would say shocked, but I'm not. The Supreme Court claims to be pro-life until that life finds themselves unhoused, and then it stops. So I do not believe those are our values, and I certainly hope that we continue to fight for policies and programs that work to actually truly address our homeless issues here. So I will certainly continue to do that and continue to fight for that. One of the things we're doing actually very much tomorrow that I'm very much looking forward to is Chief Story, LCPD, Paul Ford with the fire department, the MIH program, and other community partners like Community of Hope and FYI, and invite any of you to join us. It's going to be at 2 p.m. in the middle of the day, but we're going to do a street outreach down Picacho and just walk the street and just do outreach for folks on the street, for businesses, whoever. MIH and community advocates from LCPD did this about, a year ago, I think, downtown, and it was very successful, and so we're going to try it again on West Picacho, and that will be tomorrow at 2 p.m. And we're meeting at Tractor Supply right there on the corner of Valley and Picacho. And I'm just really looking forward to it. I think this is going to the people is really important to understand how we address some of the issues that we're facing. So that is tomorrow, and we'll be excited to report back in 2 weeks on how that went. I also wanted to ask for what it would take to do a codes project, city manager. I've put it in an email already, but wanted it to include it in my comments. There is a neighborhood in District 4 in the Branding Iron Circle area. It's a mobile home park, and I've been in contact with some residents who are having some issues with their neighbors, and Codes has tried to address it, and MIH is working to address it, and all of these resources. But you know, when I canvassed there in the fall, I also noticed those similar things, and even since then, I was wondering what we could do in terms of a codes project, whether it's a letter first. I know that I could gather members of that community to canvass, to volunteer, and do some of the outreach around how you dispose of big items like your old mattresses or old chairs, having your numbers on the. Hardly anybody has any of their home numbers that are visible, and I know that's a huge public safety concern. So just some of those kinds of codes projects I would love to do. I know that capacity and funding could be an issue, but would love to know what it takes to do that. And then just lastly, I would love to know how many projects we've submitted to MAP, the municipal atrial, what is it? Arterial? Wow. Wow, arterial program just in the last couple of years. I'd love to know how we've utilized that map, and if there is room to submit some proposals for potentially like McClure. And I talked to David about what that would take, but I think there's a couple of requests for traffic calming that are out in the ether, and I'm just wondering if this could be utilized. And I'm curious about how we've utilized it in the past. So that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And again, huge thank you to El Paso Electric during the storm and the bad weather that we had the last couple of days, and getting the boots on the ground and helping us restore our power. No different than our hearts go out to those in Ruidoso, and as Mayor Pro Tem said, you know, we had our fire crews going out there, but we had a lot of members of this community just continue to give, and it goes in line with what our theme is here in the city of Las Cruces, and that's Adelante con Cariño, and it really speaks volumes of our community and our city. And speaking of Adelante, moving forward, this past week I was able to be the keynote speaker for the CBA, Central Business Association in El Paso, and trying to bring economic development to our southern New Mexico with the partnerships of El Paso and Juarez. So that was one thing that took place, and it was great to start building the bridges for economic development in our area, our borderplex region. And then also tomorrow, I think Mayor Pro Tem, you said Chief Story will be here, but he won't. But the police department will represent. But Chief Story and I will be in Albuquerque tomorrow, as the governor has invited us. She is going to have a public safety roundhouse to discuss some of the issues that's going to take place with a special session coming up. So that's, again, moving forward with ideas on mental, behavioral, and how to address crime. So we'll be at that public safety roundhouse meeting tomorrow in Albuquerque from 1 to 4. 4th of July is coming upon us, and I was going to request of the city manager, maybe the lights could display some patriotic colors for our city hall. And then just want to end it with wishing everybody a happy and safe 4th of July. Please attend all the festivities that are planned, the entertainment, the food, the music, and the firework display. Thank you. And with that, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Enriquez, Mayor Pro Tem, Bencomo, and City Councilors, Icani Tamopea, City Manager. And I just have a few updates for you. Again, echoing everyone's kudos for EPE this past weekend. Additionally, I want to give kudos to our staff who are dealing with the impacts, non-power related, but getting facilities back up, clearing the streets and roadways. Thank you to Public Safety, Fire and Police, as always, Public Works, Traffic, Parks and Rec staff, Joint Utilities, Facilities, and every other department that falls in between and outside. Thank you so much for your for all the staff working this weekend. Kudos as well to the communication. Rico gave me kudos, but really I get all the communication from my city manager office team. So I appreciate Sonia, I appreciate JC, I appreciate Barbara, and I appreciate David Cedillo, who's filling in as well for Sonia, who've been keeping me apprised with their teams and everything that they can find out. So thank you to the CMO team as well for keeping me apprised with everything, which then allows me to pass it on to City Council. An update, the Hawk pedestrian signal has been installed and operational at Picacho Avenue and 4th Street. For those who don't know, the Hawk stands for High Intensity Activated Crosswalk, is a pedestrian activated beacon to increase pedestrian safety at mid-block crosswalks, minor street intersections, and in-school zones. And as everyone is aware, we have festivities coming for July 3rd and July 4th. On Wednesday, July 3rd, as announced last week, City of Las Cruces 4th of July celebration will kick off with electric 5K and fun run, followed by the annual electric light parade. The parade route begins at Apodaca, ends at Mershite. Road closures will begin on Wednesday the 3rd at 5:30, so don't be caught in that. Running event begins at 7:30 with the parade starting at 9 p.m. On the 4th, the city annual 4th of July celebration, concert, and fireworks display will be at NMSU. We have Black Jacket Symphony will make their Las Cruces debut performing iconic album Saturday Night Fever. Black Jacket Symphony has performed over 40 classic rock albums, bringing an incredible night of entertainment. After school program, lottery registration begins today through Friday, July 12th. If interested, call 575-541-2550 for program locations and additional information. Also, Keep Las Cruces Beautiful Dumpster Day is on Saturday, July 20th from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. Just responding to Mayor Pro Tem Bencomo, you mentioned the codes project. We can definitely stay in touch. Just some ideas coming to mind. If there's a spokesperson for the group, or if you're in touch with somebody, have them reach out to myself, and we can get the appropriate people in a room. We can start with a meeting and see what the needs are, and definitely have codes and whoever else. And if you'd like to be in that meeting too, that's just what comes to mind quickly. But we can stay in touch. If there's anything else you'd like to do, let me know. And also, I know you're working with David Cedillo on the projects for the arterial programs, and so if there's anything else, we'll keep you apprised on that and how it's being utilized. Also, July 4th, Mayor will work with facilities, work with David Cedillo and facility staff to get that with the appropriate lights. And if you'd like, we can keep it on for the whole month. Or are you thinking just a day? Okay, we'll keep it up for the whole month if you'd like. And that's it for me, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. With that, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, Corin.
Second by Flores.
This is on the motion to adjourn the meeting. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Coran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
And Mayor?
Yes.